Hello, and welcome to another one of Esha's Kitchen Adventures. Today we're preparing a beef brisket that has been market trimmed and had the decal taken off of it. I've already gone and trimmed off some of the extra fat. And what we're going to do now is put some spice rub on it, let it sit overnight, and then cook it up first thing in the morning. For the spice rub that we're going to use, I'm actually using the spice rub from Shiner Barbecue. It's their barbecue rub, and I got it the last time I was visiting the Shiner Brewery. And I'm putting this on pretty liberal. This will have some sea salt, some garlic, some chili powders, things of that nature. All right, let's get the other side. And we'll be cooking this on my Pit Boss pellet smoker. And be cooking it at about 250 degrees. You want to make sure to get all the sides. And I'm putting it on fairly liberally. That way tonight it can soak up. Okay. Make sure you get all the edges. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in an aluminum foil pan. And I'm going to put it back in the fridge overnight after I wrap the pan. And I'm just going to use one piece of aluminum foil. And this is a small brisket, so it shouldn't take too long to cook. If it was actually a full brisket, then I would start cooking it overnight instead of in the morning. I want to make sure I get it nice and tight here on the sides. All right. We'll come back in the morning and see how it is. Hello and welcome back. We've pulled the brisket out of the fridge. We let it sit there overnight so that way the seasonings would adhere and soak into the brisket a little bit more. As you can see, it's turned a little darker color because of the seasoning that we have. It's also a thinner cut of brisket, so it should not cook as long as a normal brisket. This will basically be what they call the flat portion of the brisket. So we're looking at maybe a 6-hour cook or so, and we will put it on a pellet smoker at 250 degrees, which I have currently out there getting warmed up now. So come with me as we put this out on the grill. All right, the grill's currently at 250 degrees. We're using a Pit Boss pellet smoker. I'm just going to put this right here in the middle. Then what we'll do is we'll come back and check it in about an hour and a half. And if need be, we'll go ahead and spritz it with some apple cider vinegar and water and see what's going. So I will put the probe in at about an hour or so. But for the first hour and 30 minutes, we'll just let it smoke and let it cook up. All right, stay tuned. All right, it's been on for about an hour and a half now. and it is good and tacky. I'm going to go ahead and spray it with a little apple cider vinegar. Help keep it a little moist. Spray it both sides. I also added the probe for temp, and we're sitting at about 150. So we have about 15 more degrees before I'll pull it and wrap it. And for wrapping, I'm just going to do some, butter, and honey, and brown sugar. But we'll get into that when I pull it. So stay tuned until the next one. Alright, it's time to pull it. I'm going to go ahead and undo the probes. I'm going to put it in this pan. That way I can bring it inside and wrap it. Wearing some barbecue gloves so that way it's not as hot. And stay tuned for when we wrap it. Alright, for this part, I'm going to wrap it. Just going to put that down. And then I'm going to add some agave, some butter, and some brown sugar. So we'll do a little bit of butter first. And I'm just using some normal parquet or margarine. And then I'm doing some organic blue agave. You can also use honey if you like. And I've done both. And just a smidge of brown sugar, not a whole bunch. And then what you want to do is you want to wrap it. I'm going to bring it over there. Bring it over there. Put it in there. Do this. And I'm going to actually double wrap it. And you can use, butcher paper, aluminum foil, whatever you decide. I know if you use aluminum foil, it breaks down the crust a little bit more. Alright, now that it's wrapped, we're going to put it back on the smoker and let it cook to about 203 degrees. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to put the probe back in. I'll put one on each side. And we're going to let that sit. And then when it hits, like I said, an internal temperature of around 200, we will then start checking it for tenderness to see when it's time to pull it. So stay tuned for the next one. Alright, well the temperature gauge says it's at 200 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to probe it to make sure that it is good and cooked. And you just want to be able to put it in without really any resistance. And it feels good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull this, let it rest for a little bit. And then we'll cut it up here in a little while. And all in all, this has taken approximately about 3 hours to cook. But it is a lot smaller for brisket, so it's not a full brisket. So that's why it was able to cook a lot quicker than normal. Alright, stay tuned when we cut it and see how it goes. Alright, welcome back. So we've let the brisket rest for a while. Time to unpack it and see what we've got. See all the juices running out. And there you go. This will be the finished product. Let me put it on the cutting board here real quick. Alright, and since the decal part was already removed, all we really need to do now is we can cut it in half. Look at the smoke ring that's on that. So it's good and cooked. It should be make really good sandwiches and, you know, some good slices. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it up, do some slicing. But there you go. My first smallish brisket. We'll do another one where it's the whole brisket. So, but hope you enjoyed the video and stay tuned for the next one.